everybody, welcome to the channel for another battle report. So this was the second game that I played at the training in Dijon, France. I was playing this time against Warrior of the Dark God. You know already my list, which is this one. And this was my opponent's list. He's playing an Herald. Then we have the Anthropic Aura, Chosen Lord, an Apprentice on the Black Backsteed with the Book of Arcane Mastery, so Apprentice Evocation. With Binding, 17 Warriors. Then he has the small scoring of Horseman, 2 chaff pieces, Warhound, a big unit of Chosen Knight of Greed, I guess. Yeah, Greed. Then he has a unit of Warrior Knight, also of Greed, and unit of Feldrak with a Banner of Discipline. We were playing all the targets, so it's a new scenario which is a mix of all the ground and secure target, which I like a lot, to be honest. And below you have the spell selection of both players. So as you can see, he has 3 buffs in combat and 2 damage spells for distant, which are very powerful. Gravecall and Wrath of God. Matchup analysis. So I think the secondary objective is very hard, can be very hard to win on the diagonal deployment, because you can use the geometry of the map to your advantage. And you will see afterwards why I say that. It could be a standoff-ish game. It could be, I think since it's training for me, it's always in my mind trying to break the standoff, open up the game a bit more. I want to try out the matchup that I tried during practice. I think that's a key element, what I've been trying to do this weekend. Chosen Knight, Feldrak are the main threats, so I need to reduce them to a size that I can manage. I think it's often the case for Infernal Dwarves, reduced to a number that you can then better manage in close combat. Chaff War, yeah, basically it's going to be about control, about position, about who can charge, about who can move forward. So definitely between his chaff, my chaff, who can clean the other one chaff, is going to be a battle within the battle. And I rated the matchup as being slightly positive, so I rated the secondary to be kind of drawish, but I should be winning due to my superior range damage, so I should be winning a bit if it's a standoff, and then it can be more open depending on what both players can do. So deployment wise, I won the roll for side. I gave him here the Impassable and place my all the target right here. That's what I was saying. I mean, if you check the diagonal here, it's going to be very hard for him to deploy something here and to reach that part of the map. He decided to do more or less the same here with his all the targets, so I think makes sense. And he deployed very compact on the left part of the house. So he plays Warrior here, Hounds, the second unit is here, then you have Chosen Knight, Feldrak, the Knight with the 2 characters, and behind you have the Horseman, and behind as well, hidden to avoid any shooting and magic early on, the Exalted Herald. My counter deployment. So basically I put flexible stuff on the left, on the small triangle, to be able to move sideways. So I have here the Overlord and the Kadim Titan. Then I place a unit of Relentless Vassal to potentially try to steal the secondary. Obviously it's quite obvious, but if my opponent doesn't do anything about that, I could potentially take advantage from it. Then we have Vassal here, the Bastion unit, the Anointed, Incarnate, and the big block of Vassal just going to sleep here and try to take the secondary. Turn 1, War of the Dark God, so he pushes forward. And nothing too crazy here. And Magic Phase, he get Gravecall on my Overlord. I use Lucky Charm and Lugar Dice. He does nothing on me. And he suffered two wounds on himself from the miscast, which was a bit unfortunate here. My turn 1, I'm able to push the Incarnate out of line of sight of the Chosen Knight to apply pressure. Those guys going to stay on the objective here. I respect his charge range, so I move a bit far away. Here it's 18 inch to get some shooting from both the Overlord and the magic from the Bastion. And the Titan move a bit sideways next to the Overlord to form a compact battle line. In the magic phase, he let me have a breast weapon, but did 0 wound to the Chosen Knight. And then the Overlord managed to do 1 wound with his shooting weapon being Eye of the Bull. His turn 2, he reorganized his Chosen Knight to have a good line of sight here, so I cannot anymore escape his line of sight. Other than that, yeah, he stays with the Warrior here. I think worth mentioning, he's very smartly recognized the fact that I could use the Relentless Banner and tie up the secondary since this cavalry was too far away. So he uses a chaff piece. Fortunately for him, through the ruin, he didn't suffer 2 wounds because it would have been a leadership check non-rollable that matter a lot. So basically, he's able to chaff me to avoid me going into this his deployment zone. So I can get a charge here, but that's the good way to avoid me getting a tie here and winning on the top, and basically winning secondary most likely. So well done from him. Other than that, yeah, as you can see, I mean, he moves slightly in Magic Phase, get Gravecall on the Academy Incarnate, did 5 wounds, which is really good. My turn 2, didn't move a lot, as you can see, just took the charge to clean the chaff. Other than that, nothing crazy to mention. Magic Phase, he Binding Scroll, the Gravecall, got Rot Within against the Chosen Knight, plus Hereditary on the Cavalry, I guess, to prepare some upcoming combat. And I also got, with the Breast Weapon, did a total of 3 wounds to the Chosen Knight, which was really good. And maybe, yeah, I think that was it. Close combat, I win a little bit. He broke from combat, and flees, I just restrain. His turn 3, he brought this time 2 scoring unit here. So basically I cannot steal it anymore. He doesn't rally his dogs, they continue to flee, they're going to flee off the board at some point. And the rest remains a stalemate. So looks like he's happy with that at the moment, didn't lose any big points, and is trying to maintain a KG game. We'll see how I can open up that. Still waiting to do some more wounds on the CK. So we will see how that goes. In his Magic Phase, got nothing crazy, just reroll to hit somewhere, and that's it. On my turn 3, I start to activate stuff. So I use the first piece of chaff to chaff both the Feldrak and the Cavalry, which allows me to push heavily. Basically, I'm counting on the Magic plus the Bastion to kill another model at least, to make then combat too hard for him to take. So I'm able to push hard with both Anointed, Incarnate, and also the Bastion. Just to tell him, okay, if I do enough wound with shooting magic, like I expect, all this combat are going to be too hard for you. He could potentially charge the Overlord, but only 1 model in base contact, which is not so good for him. So I felt fine about that, and this allowed me to push all these 3 units, push also a bit the Academy Titan and the Overlord forward, and basically chafe the... I think here that's now the main threat for me, are those Feldrak that can cause a lot of trouble. Those guys, I think they turn around to move away to avoid any easy charge, which was maybe not necessary. I could have still faced forward. Magic Phase. This time I got Breast Weapon, did nothing on the Chosen Knight. Mark for Doom Dispel, Gravecall fail, and I got a Rot Within on, I think, the Cavalry. Yeah, the Cavalry to reduce them. And the Bastion managed to do 3 wounds to the Chosen Knight, plus 1 from the Overlord, which is enough to finish the 2 models, because he had 1 wound left on 1 model. So very nice for me. His turn 4, yeah, he realized it's going to be hard, so he moved back with those guys, activate a chaff piece here, charge here, move sideways with the Exalted Herald, ready to do stuff, and here also is in position. I think here worth mentioning, he wanted to really chaff also the Bastion, but Bastion causes terror, so it's going to be a shaky terror check on a 5. And even without the terror check, as you can see, the Overlord is kind of blocking the Bastion from wheeling, so I could only wheel a little bit, which forces those guys to close the door, which is a high risk of those guys being able to charge potentially. So definitely here the chaff wasn't done so properly. In the Magic Phase, he casts some buff. He is expecting combat with those Feldraks, so he's casting reroll to hit and +1 to hit as well. I dispel Gravecall on the Anointed because I wanted them full, and he got a Wrath of God on 3 dice, place it below the chaff. Close combat, he kills 7 of my guys, but I'm steadfast and I still managed to stay here. I think here, yeah, I chaffed the best way I could to chaff both units, but as you can see, the flee pass is not perfect. Could have been annoying for me, potentially could have chaffed my Titan, so I could have angled the Titan a bit better to allow myself to charge no matter what happened with those vassals. So I wasn't too careful here, didn't come to bite me back. Okay, turn 4, as you can see, a lot of things happen. What did I do? I charge with the Bastion onto the dogs. It's a 5 leadership, they fled off the board. Redirect my charge on a 7 onto the Feldrak. I failed that charge, but I got the Anointed 3 that charged towards the flank of those guys on a 5 Swift Ride. They got that. The Rin did some damage, I lost a model, but then I have a short overrun in the flank of this cavalry. So I felt, okay, this is looking really good. It's only 1 model that can attack, also those 2 models that can attack the vassals, so they don't do that much combat result. Obviously I would have liked to contact with the Bastion, because I'm sure to break them and then I can turn around, overrun here to block those guys. I had plenty of options, but wasn't the case. I placed the Overlord here next to the Academy Titan, ready to charge stuff. Next round, turn around those guys again, and the Incarnate are ready. Basically, I know that I committed those Anointed, but I'm ready to get counter charge and then charge again. I'm trying to start the swap, the resources here, and just telling him, okay, I'm going to do some hard damage on those Feldrak, which is a key unit in the matchup, so I couldn't basically let go a flank charge on those guys that are so annoying. Despite the fact that I have +1 to hit, reroll to hit, and the attribute from Divination, I felt it's too good to let go. Magic Face, I got Grave Call on Chosen Knight, did some more wounds, I think 2 wounds. Don't know if it was the best spell to cast, to be honest. I think it dispelled. Rot Within didn't matter, Hereditary didn't matter as well. So I have no good buff, and I think it just dispelled the Breast Weapon. So I had nothing crazy to do here to buff the combat, basically. Close combat, I put some stats. That's the stat of the impact here and the attack from the Anointed. So as you can see, I roll a bit below average. I expected slightly more, and the problem for me with the wounds that I did before, I would have needed 1 wound more to kill the second model. So he's able to strike back at me with 2 models, and they managed to do in return 4 wounds to the Toric Anointed. So only 5 wounds for me, 4 wounds for him. Yeah, obviously with Unburnt I cannot get roll to wound, so it's not the best combat for the Anointed, but I still expected more than that, and in the end it's a 5 minimize for him check, which he was able to pass. So okay, not what I expected. His turn, I have some close-ups also. I will try to do more in some battle reports because I think they look extremely cool. Despite the fact that we have unpainted model in this training game, it's still bringing like the, I don't know, the smell of the fights. And I reformed that way to chaff the cavalry. Basically, his turn 5, he charged with the cavalry onto the vassal. I expect them to break. I expect also the Anointed to break. He charged me with the Exalted Herald. And here I think I did a mistake. Since he had only 4 wounds left on the CK, he decided to turn them around, move away and save the points. I think instead what he should have done, just turn around, move slightly back and be ready to counter charge the next round, because it's going to be a swap. Now he counter charge, then I will counter charge, and if he has nothing else to send, that's going to be not enough, most likely. So yeah, we have this big combat here. Magic Face, what happened? I Binding Scroll, roll to hit. He triple 1, we roll to wound, and I dispelled Rot Within, so he has no buff. I dispelled Grave Call, and he tried Wrath of God on 3 dice, which didn't work. So that was really good for me, dispel round. I failed the Fear here, is going to clean all the vassals. And then close combat, kill 2 of my Anointed model. I'm going to do some wounds here. And that's how it is. He failed to restrain with the Feldrak that are forced to pursue the Anointed, but luckily for me doesn't catch me. Just did a couple of inch and stop, luckily for me, in front of the Overlord. Didn't contact the Overlord, which could have been very problematic for me. I still had the charge in the flank and so on. No, I think it's not so much of a problem, but would have at least blocked the Overlord and not allow me to charge with the Kadim Titan here. So I was happy that it didn't contact me, but no matter what, I would have had the Bastion in the flank, which is a problem for him. So that was the situation before combat. My turn 5, I'm able to double charge in the flank, so send the Incarnate plus the Bastion onto those Feldrak, and as you can see, the post-combat Flea will send them off the board. So that's done. Here I chaff the Warriors, and I double charge onto the Knight with the Kadim Titan plus the Overlord, making being in front of his Entropic Aura guy to just tell him, okay, it's a dicey combat. I made the calculation before at the beginning of the battle, and I know that I can die. He could also die, but the main point here is neutralize what his Lord's going to do and allow the Kadim Titan to basically unload all these weapons, all these attacks into the Warrior Knights. I think that's the key for me. I rally those guys on 9 rollable, and here I stay in the same position. So as you can see, it's going to be a tie secondary objective, most likely. I would need to remove those guys maybe. So yeah, I'm expecting here, my expectation was to go through, and maybe I can get an overrun from the Titan here. So it could be very exciting. In the Magic phase, I got Rot Within onto the Cavalry, so I guess I was hitting on 3 up. Because it's second Rot Within. I got a Breast Weapon on 4 dice onto my Kadim Titan, so I get a reroll to wound Breast Weapon on Armored Knight, which is the best you can expect. So really happy about that. The Wrath of God doesn't come down. close combat. I didn't do that much, to be honest. I think I have some stat. I don't have any stat. But basically what I have here is D3 plus 1, a reroll to wound on a 2-up. So that's already a couple of knights dead. Then I have the breast, toxic breast, a reroll to wound. And then I have the 6 attack on 3-up, 2-up, reroll to wound. And he saves that on 4 or 5. I don't know if he has 1-up, maybe. It depends on the weapon. I think it's a great weapon, so he has only a 5-up. Or maybe try Halberd. No matter what, it's only a 5-up. So I expected to do more than 5 wounds with the big boss, with Titan. And then in a duel, we both did 2 wounds. So we are both alive. He has 1 wound left, I have 2 wounds left. So I only managed to do 1 wound more than him. Then I have a charge. No, I did more wounds than that, but no matter what, at the end, he had a 5 rollable to make, and he passes it. And here I just broke those guys, they fled, turn around with the Incarnate, that's it. He's turn 6, charge with the warriors, here we're still stuck in combat, a couple of guys left. Here he charged my Incarnate, which surprised me a bit. A magic face, I dispel rod, I dispel roll to hit, he got roll to wound. I think on the Exalted Herald, he's going to get in combat, kill 1 model. I'm going to pass the check, and then I have the counter charge of the Bastion. Here I kill, my Overlord dies because he took Halberd, so he strikes before me and was able to finish me. He had like, I think he has like 5 attack on a 4-up, 3-up. I think that's it. To kill me, and he managed to do the last 2 wounds, so he killed my guy. Okay, that's it. My Titan finishes the cavalry guys, so it's now his Lord on 1 wound against my Titan with 4 wounds remaining, so should be enough to kill him. Here he killed my Chaff Reform, and that's it. My turn 6. Boom, I send the Bastion in the flank. Here we're stuck in combat. Magic Face get a breast weapon on the Canim Titan, which is going to be enough to finish his Lord. And here I just send my champion, it's auto break, so the Exalted Herald just pops. And that's the end of the game. So it ended up being a 15-5 and a tie on the secondary objective. What can I say about this game? Yeah, my attempt to steal the secondary was quickly identified and blocked. It was a standoff until I was able to chaff and then push. And then it was an exchange of resources. Like I said, I think the CK made the wrong move to turn around. They should have stayed forward and tried to be in combat as a next counter charge. So I think that mattered a lot in this exchange of resources. The fact that he took 1 away, even if it's for save point, I felt he missed something here. Once I reduced enough the Chosen Knight that were zoning me, I was able to be aggressive. Yeah, I think his chaff was too risky turn 4. I think what he could have done is potentially only chaff the Anointed. Not the Bastion, because it's not that important in this position. Try to be out of terror check zone. I think that could have been possible. And if not, at least orient himself so that if my Bastion has to charge and he stick on the check, I'm in a weird position in a traffic jam. I think could have created something much more annoying for me. The combo charge, of course, if I would have got the 7 on the Bastion, it would have broken the Feldrak and give me overruns, which would have been potentially easier. Still, without the Bastion, I expected the Anointed to go through, which I did manage to do. So that happens. Yeah, I wasn't able really to buff them due to the properties of the Feldrak. Turn 5, Infernal Dwarves, the combo charge and the breath was in my mind. I was also here surprised that he was able to stick. I was sure that I was going to break him and then get more points on the last round, but it wasn't the case, and it cost me the Overlord in the process, which was a bit annoying. And turn 6 Infernal Dwarves, yeah, it was just finishing the job and get the big points of the General and the Exalted Herald. Guys, that's all for this battle report. I hope you liked it. Plenty of action, really interesting to try out all those combats. And talk to you soon for the 3rd battle report. Bye bye.